Welcome to Giant Radio, where we're all about big ideas in sales and marketing and eye-popping discussions with successful entrepreneurs. Turn up the volume and settle in. Now, here's the founder of Giant Jacks Media and your host, Paul Hitchcock.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We help others to grow and nurture their businesses. This is my channel where I have incredible entrepreneurs on it, highlighting what they're doing. And certainly, Chris and Karene are two of them. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So, I want to call it, Client Spotlight. We've been working together for a while. And I'm just enthralled by the two of you, your business, and I thought this would be a good way to share what you're doing with others and get into it a bit. And so let me just talk. So, Karene, you are husband and wife with Chris. You have your business, Fit Hidden Figure. We can see there. So, first question I want to ask you is, big picture, what is the business? And how did you get into starting it and working together?
All right. So basically, what we do is transform physiques in a matter of weeks, specifically for executives. To transform a physique takes a whole lot of work, right? There's a lot of cooking, there's a lot of prepping, there's a lot of tracking macros, there's a lot of workouts and that type of thing. So what we have done is create a system where executives can delegate as much as possible, right? So that they focus only on what they need to do. They can't delegate the strength training. They can't delegate the cardio, and they can't delegate the actual eating of the foods.
Yeah.
But everything else that can be delegated, get delegated to us. Meaning, all they have to do is eat the food we send to them and answer the doorbell when we send a personal trainer to their house. 1 hour commitment, 6 days a week. Executives are losing 40 pounds of body fat in a matter of 6 months. And we make it as simple as possible for high-level transformation.
I love it. Okay. So we were kind of talking before we started recording this that, Chris has got to wear the tight shirt, like always throw it in my face, right? Because I know both of you are getting on me about my exercise routine, and so I want to before we get into the details of your business, background first, because people ask, well, how are you guys experts at this and so forth? And I know the answers, but let's talk about, Karene, starting with you, your background, and Chris, I want you to chime in here too on the bikini bodybuilder, where you're from and that stuff. So tell me about that.
All right. So, mathematician, undergrad degree in electrical engineering, went to Columbia University to study financial mathematics, and was a quant specialist for investment banks for over 20 years. Organizations including JP Morgan, the World Bank, advised countries on asset allocation at the country level, that kind of thing. Along the way, throughout my career, my mom passed away from breast cancer. And a few years later, the doctors found a lump in my breast. And that was when I decided that, this is a life or death type situation.
Yeah.
Last time someone in my family had a lump in their breast, they died 2 years later. So I had to make a radical decision, do I stay on this wheel of corporate America, or am I going to jump off and go on my own health and fitness journey to ensure that I don't succumb to breast cancer?
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I pivoted and went on my own journey, competed in a bodybuilding competition, matriculated until I made it to pro in 2022.
Yeah, it's an unreal story. Yeah.
Yep, and I'm currently ranked 13th best over 40 bikini physique in the world.
Yep.
So that is just a big nutshell of how I pivoted from investment banking for many years into health and fitness.
Yeah, it was a passion for various serious and obvious reasons. And then you two met, and I know the story. And Chris, you got to tell me, because you were dating Chris, you were not always in the shape that you are right now. And I think
No,
Karene basically gave you an ultimatum. Dude, you gotta get here or we're not dating anymore. What happened
that's
there?
that's correct. So, my background is in technology. So,
Yeah.
I've been in as a CIO for almost 12 years before leaving corporate America and joining Hidden Figure full time last year. But I was her company's CIO when we met and when I saw her, in 2015. But it still took me, Paul, like 8 months to even say hi, right? Because when I saw the corner of my eye at the time being 300 pounds or 290, big
Unbelievable.
boned,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
didn't have it yet to like just even walk by and say hi, right?
Yeah.
So once I got to a point where I could say hi, I broke her computer, which opened up the door to have conversation. And I'm just a wonderful conversationalist. So one thing led to another. She told me I had to get to 15% body fat
That's right. That's
if
right.
I wanted to get married. Now this is fast forwarding like 5 years and all kinds of ups and downs and funds and whatnot. And I had a huge transformation in 2016, and that's when she told me that you have to get down to 15%. Now, just to put it into perspective, I think I started probably around 38% or in the high 30s
Yeah.
when I first got our first DEXA scan. So 15%, that's like
Big.
half my body,
Big.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it. It's like I have to lose a whole 1.5 humans off my own body to get married, right? So at first I was like, nah, man, this is just not for me. I'm big bone, it's never gonna happen, right? Well, when COVID hit, because I have multiple sclerosis, the only thing they ever said was anyone with an underlying condition, or if you're over 60 or 65, you're just gonna die, right?
Yeah.
So
Scary.
that's when I really had to put it, the change into place. So fast forward to 2222222 because my wife is a mathematician and we like numbers. It just so happens that date was available, and I got married at 13 point something percent. I got all the way, I passed her expectations of 15%, and got down to 13%.
That's such a
So
great story. I love it. I love it. And so now you two, obviously, you're full
So,
time in the business. Yeah,
Paul, can I interject?
of course.
So, I have to tell the story from the eyes of an entrepreneur, okay? And a
Mhm.
startup, okay? This is about, we're all trying to grow businesses here, okay?
Yeah.
So, when I met Chris, I was not in the best shape either. I was skinny fat. We were having house parties all the time, hiring bartenders and all that kind of stuff, living the highfalutin life, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And along the way, I shifted and started eating a lot of Tupperware, because, you need to eat food prep. And, Chris, he didn't meet me like this. Okay. So when I discovered fitness, my physique started to transform. And I said, wow, I would really love to start a fitness business. So Chris's response was, I will support you. Right. And so the question becomes, what does support look like, right? Because if I'm running a fitness business, obviously I gotta look fit, and whoever I'm with gotta look fit. So
I-
if you're 300 pounds and I'm trying to do a fitness business, that's not gonna work well for branding.
no. No.
Okay. So from a business perspective, I looked at him and said, well, I found my life purpose. I'm going to run this business. And to marry me, I need you to be like 50% body fat so that it is good for branding. And then we can get married. Okay. So his thing was, but I've always been big bone. My whole family's big bone. You a little skinny chick. You don't know nothing about this. I can't do that. And Paul, 2019, old dude packed his bags and left. He was just like, I'm out. Okay. He was serious. He's just like, I'm big bone. Like, what you're asking of me is just impossible. Okay. So he didn't come back until, COVID hit.
Yeah,
You got to hear the death tolls, and Chris has a multiple sclerosis, which
yeah,
is a major, when you have underlying conditions and you got COVID, people
yeah,
are really
yeah,
dying.
yeah.
So he calls me up and he says, "Hey, could you coach me?" I'm like, "Dude, after you pack your bags and left, now you calling me to coach you?" Okay.
Triple the cost, triple the cost.
I'm like, "Look, I'm running a legitimate business. So if you deposit half your paycheck to my account, we can work something out." Okay. The piece Chris is missing is that he paid for, we were looking at the transactions just the other day. He paid for every minute of my time for that transformation. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And, so he gets down to 15% body fat because at this time we're not dating, we're in a engagement, right? He's
right.
paying me to do the transformation. He gets down to 15% body fat, and he goes, "I look so good now. I look so good. I won't be on the market for much longer. So I suggest you put a ring on it."
Oh my God, that's a little aggressive. A little aggressive, Chris.
Have you met
Yeah,
my wife?
yeah, yeah. Aggressive is
Listen,
appropriate.
you have to, part of communication is appropriate communication, right?
Right.
So
Match, match.
that's right. You got to match the energy.
Yeah,
And you know
yeah.
what? She responded favorably.
I
Okay.
love, I
So
love it. No, I love it. I love the story. Well, all right. So
So
love
wait,
that.
wait,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
wait.
yeah.
I'm not done yet, Paul.
Okay.
So he says, "I look so good, you better put a ring on it." And he goes, "It would be a damn shame. Some other woman pick me up. You know you're gonna be mad if you done did all this work and some woman picked me up, so you better put a ring on it." And my response to him was, "If you can stay consistent for 2 years, I will marry you on a very special date, which is 22222,"
Oh, okay.
which meant that he had to be consistent for 2 years. Okay.
Oh, uh-huh.
And then we got
Yeah.
married.
You got
And
married. Yeah. He got the prize. He
yep,
got the
that's the story.
prize. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, so the business, first of all, who are you working with? Like who's your target audience?
So we're working with CEOs, partner level lawyers, partner level at, accounting firms, very, very senior executives that don't have the time, but they need a transformation for longevity, for their personal branding,
Yeah.
for improvements in confidence,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual growth, and even intimacy in marriage.
Yeah. 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 And so when someone starts working with you, how does that play out? Like, how long is the engagement? What do you have a very specific goal? You say we're trying to achieve this, and how do you get there?
Okay, so the first thing we do is get a DEXA scan. Like, so someone hires us, we get a DEXA scan done, and a DEXA scan is a gold standard on body fat percentage.
Okay.
So basically, if someone came to us weighing 200 pounds, the DEXA scan simply tells us how much is fat, how much is muscle, and how much is bone.
Mm-hmm.
We take the muscle and bone mass, which is considered the fat-free mass, and that tells us how much protein they have to intake on a daily basis to optimize building lean muscle tissue.
Okay. Okay.
And that becomes a backbone of what you call a meal plan, right? Because you have to get
Right,
your
right.
protein targets, and then the protein targets then inform how you go about the meal plan. Now, we also do something called a resting metabolic rate testing, right? Which what it does, it measures the amount of calories you burn at rest, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That data comes to us to tell us, all right, if we were to do this much activity in a day and eat this much food in a day, what is a caloric deficit that would occur that is just the right amount to lose body fat while gaining muscle. And this part is highly critical because if the caloric deficit is too wide, you're going to lose fat and muscle. If there's no caloric deficit, you're not going to lose any weight. So you have to figure out with some precision what that caloric deficit will be for the individual to achieve the ultimate goal of losing body fat and building muscle mass at the same time.
Well, that's so insightful because I got to tell you, we were talking a week ago, and I was peppering you with questions about my own situation, and I'm active and so forth, and it was great because a couple things that stood out for me there when I was talking with you is, first of all, the nutrition side of it, because I'm like, okay, I'm eating, eggs in the morning and, got some yogurt going on. And then we got into the detail of, well, what kind of eggs are you eating? Well, I'm eating eggs. Well, no, egg whites, get egg whites. So I'm getting egg whites now, like you said. And and you described why egg whites versus just regular eggs. More protein, great. And then also the other thing was what was the other thing you're saying to eat?
Yogurt.
Oh, the yogurt.
Protein
It's
yogurt.
not just any yogurt, it's the protein yogurt. And it's funny because I went and got that Oikos yogurt and it was on sale at my Safeway in the street. And so I got that. And as I started reading the label after you said it, because Chris, you sent me what you eat during the day. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, I was eating yogurt with 6 grams of protein. This has like 24. So it was a big difference. And once I understood the protein scenario and the calorie scenario, you can see how that makes a difference. So that was one thing, like the whole diet thing, just little tweaks to that make a big difference is what I took away. The other thing I took away is you were telling me about someone you're coaching, and he said, which I said, we're not going to look like Chris, right? I know, well, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder and, have the guns and all that. And your comment was, you don't need to be. I've got a client now losing body fat, gaining strength, but he's not becoming a bodybuilder. So that was a takeaway to me that was sort of eye-opening too. You comment on that, this transformation isn't about having to be some bodybuilder, right?
Here's the thing. And and this is largely spoken about in health and fitness these days.
Yeah.
Someone goes to medical school, okay? They learn how to diagnose illnesses and treat them. There is not a lot of time spent on preventative measures, like how to strength train, how to do cardio, how to do nutrition. That's not their area of focus, okay? Another piece is that in medical school, there is not an emphasis on the importance of muscle mass on the human body as you age. So what is happening is that you have a few folks that have gotten kind of fed up of this whole medical system. They're all medical doctors, okay? And one particular gentleman wrote the book Outlived, for example, right? Where the idea is that we need to have as much muscle mass as possible to preserve our youthfulness. We need to have as much muscle mass as possible so that as we age, we can be functional. What we're seeing is as people age, they are losing functionality, right? And they have a period of time between when they lose function and death, sometimes as wide as a decade or more.
Yeah.
Where their standard of living is so poor, that's what's the point of going to get medical treatment to live longer if your quality of life, you just in bed can't do anything, okay?
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
So the concept is, no, you don't have to put on a whole bunch of muscle and be a bodybuilder, but you do need to put on a few pounds of muscle to maintain your functionality and what you can do between the ages of 70 and beyond.
Mhm. No, that's really well said because the doctors can keep you alive longer today, all the advancements in technology and medicine. But you're right, if you're like punched over, you can barely walk, and you're who wants to live like that? That's a great thing because there's that time period where that happens to a lot of people. Um, very
And
So
interesting.
Chris and
well, I was gonna say, can I add something here? Because
Yeah,
I think a subconscious part about muscles, just the word muscles. When you say muscles, someone thinks athlete, or I need to
yes,
be
yeah,
a marathon runner, or I need to
yeah,
play basketball, or I need to play football. I need to be an athlete, right? And the thing is that muscles required just for daily living. So, for me, for example, with multiple sclerosis, I had a very bad falling problem in the beginning. Like my balance was just
oh, your balance is off. Yeah.
if I got pulled over, Paul, by a cop, I would have gone to jail because I couldn't prove that I wasn't drinking, even though
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
I can't walk one foot in front of the other. Like
yeah,
it's just not possible. It's the funniest thing ever watching fall over. But my point is that as I put on more muscle, right, I was able to start creating stability within my kneecap, within my hips, within my back, my core,
hmm,
right? So what the byproduct is that I'm more stable as a human, right? And I can withstand a fall, or I can withstand a balance issue, or I can withstand, I don't know, impact, right? And it allows me to do more, right?
yeah,
And when I can do more activity, right, the byproduct of that is better blood flow, better sleep, better uh less problems, uh fingers not hurting, right?
yeah,
Going up the stairs without losing your breath, right?
right,
I can't tell you how many people come to us because they can't even go up a flight of stairs without
totally,
having a big sigh, right? And
totally,
that all comes down to what's on the inside of your body. But my point is that muscles does not mean that you have to be Michael Jordan, right? You don't have
yeah,
to be an athlete, right? But the body does require you to have a certain amount of muscle to be like an actual fit human for your body to function, right? The best way I can explain it is like you take your car, right? There's a reason why we don't give it water for gas. Why? Because water isn't what's needed to make the car go, right? So
yeah,
why would I give it
yeah,
water? I give it gas. So the same thing with the
yeah,
body. Don't give it all the gas and toxins. Give it water so it can
yeah,
go, right? You're not going to put gasoline in your body. You're going to put water in your body. So
right,
similar
yeah,
thing if you want the two to function. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. No, it's a great breakdown.
and
It's yeah,
Paul, also, what Chris can speak to is, Chris has multiple sclerosis, which means that he has to go into the clinic to get these, get treatment, right? And if Chris could just describe what other folks with MS looks like as he's getting treatment versus Chris, like he can see it in real time. So
big difference.
yeah,
It's
explain
yeah,
that.
it's pretty rough, Paul. When I
Yeah,
walk in there, most of the time they look at me like I'm in the wrong location,
right.
right? Because I'm the only fit person, right? Most people that walk in there to get their infusions have canes or walkers, or they have someone helping them, or they come in a wheelchair, or something like that. And what's even more sad is when they sit down, they open up a bag of M&Ms or Cheetos, and they pop open their Diet Coke and their Dr. Pepper and all these different things that you can just watch them creating an environment in their body that's not going to help sustain their health,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I try to be a positive impact when I literally take my food with me and they will heat it up in a microwave in their employee lounge so I don't go off my meals when I'm even at
yeah.
my infusion. It's they make it a big deal whenever I go. They're like, "Oh, here comes the microwave guy," right? Like because I'm there for 5 hours, I got to eat.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
have my water and everything, and I have a whole system on even how to use the bathroom there because you got to take the cart with you. because you have it, you're hooked up
Give
to
you
an
the infusion.
IV.
Yeah, no, that's a great real life
Yeah,
example. Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's pretty like until you're in it, it's like going into the hospital. Hospitals are depressing,
yeah.
right? If you go into the hospital emergency room, everyone's sick and hurt and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And if they just changed like one thing or five things or two
Make a
things
big
or
difference.
walk a mile on a treadmill or walk for 20 minutes a day. I mean, these little things make a big difference in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, no, well said. And so when you're working with somebody doing the DEXA scan, you get into obviously the weight training, the meal plan. How long of a period do you say, okay, we can transform you? What's the period?
So the period varies, right? What we're seeing is that women are losing 4 to 5 pounds of fat per month. Men are losing 6 to 7 pounds of fat per month, right?
Yeah.
And so it's based on how much fat is there to lose to get to a place of a healthy body fat percentage.
Mhm.
And let us just be clear, is that most people are familiar with BMI, body mass index, which is just a ratio of weight to height. So when you go
Okay.
to the doctor, the first thing they're going to do is ask you for your height and check your weight, and they're going to check something called a BMI. Okay. Um, More advanced physicians that have done the research have said that BMI really doesn't matter. What really matters is body fat percentage. Because if you have a decent amount of muscle, that is going to increase your weight and it's going to give you a higher BMI, right? And that is not the medical indicator that we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
What's important is a ratio of fat to your total body weight, which is body fat percentage. So when you get the DEXA scan, right, the average person that comes, the average executive these days, and we can say because we have the numbers, the average executive is sitting at about 40% body fat. That's what we typically see,
Mhm.
40% or above.
Yeah.
And a healthy body fat percentage, right, and it varies based on age and sex, a healthy body fat percentage is less than 30%.
30.
30%.
Yeah.
Anything over 30% is considered obese
Oh,
from
okay.
a body fat percentage.
Okay.
Okay. So our goal is to take the person's current body fat percentage and try to get them to a place where they have a healthy body fat percentage, right? Now, that means that the fat loss goal is going to vary based
Mm,
on where they are, right? So
got it.
some
Yeah.
folks, when they come to us to get healthy, we've worked with folks where to get healthy, they have to lose 100 pounds of body fat, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
100 pounds of body fat is going to take us well over a year to get that done. Whereas 40 pounds of body fat, we can get done, in a 6 to 8 month period.
Yeah.
So the timing is based on how much fat we have to lose. Okay.
Oh, that's well said. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
No.
and
So can I add something to
Yeah.
this? So Paul, just to give you an idea, I know you can't see me fully stand up, right? You can see
Yeah.
that I'm not, you can look at my side profile.
Yeah.
Technically, by BMI measurement, I'm 31 BMI. My BMI score is 31.2.
Mhm.
Technically, I am obese based on medical books, right? But my body fat percentage right now is 22%. So at 22% body fat, I am technically obese on the BMI scale based on if I went to go see a regular doctor. So what they're going to end
Crazy.
up doing, it's crazy, right? So what they're going
Yeah.
to end up doing is treating a BMI situation, right? When really there isn't a situation to be treated. I just happen to have more muscle than the average person, right?
Yeah.
And my weight to my height. Like that's a set number, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so if you think about it that way, right? Somebody who's in a BMI of 40, 45, 50, right? I can already tell you their body fat percentage is going to be high, but that is a dead trigger right there to like, you need to do something now, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a easy red flag. You're 5'10" and you weigh 400 pounds. Yeah, like you need to like call
Yeah,
us yesterday,
yeah, your
right?
body's under stress when you're
I
there.
mean,
Yeah, big time.
stress. And then the other thing I was just going to add is, in the beginning of my journey, people would look at me a certain way based on the way I look, my appearance, me being bigger boned and so forth, and the way I carried myself. Over the time, I didn't get smarter from an education standpoint within IT, right? But I made like $75,000 more on my salary, all because of the way I showed up at the office.
It's unbelievable. And that's such an interesting statement because it does matter. Presentation, how you show up.
Subconscious
Because,
bias. It's a subconscious bias,
yeah, but
right?
your confidence probably got stronger too, right? And the
Confidence,
way
right?
you were showing up with more
That's right.
confidence impacts a
Yeah.
lot of things that come your way in life. Yeah.
That's exactly. I mean, like the ability to explain things, my cognitive
Yeah.
skills, right? Because I don't have a breathing problem, right? Because
Yeah.
my visceral fat went down. I went from like
Yeah.
almost 4 pounds of visceral fat to zero,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah,
So
it's very similar to me and you. I mean, I look at you, you're in great shape, and where that could cause me to feel a lack of confidence, knowing that I'm 6'4" and could take you one-on-one on a basketball court, gives me confidence to speak to you, confidently.
that's, Paul, if there weren't like 41 states in between us and
You'd be, whoop-
2,900 miles,
you'd
I
be
will
whooping
put you
some
to the
ass.
test because I guarantee you, these feet right here will go up and down the court and you just like turn around and be like, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Oh yeah,
Where'd you
let's keep
go?
it at Zoom.
Just
Let's
don't
keep it on
So, you know
Zoom.
what's
look,
so
look,
funny?
look, look, just don't dunk on me, all right?
You know what? You know what's funny? My husband is so strong, Paul, that he can lift you, throw you over his shoulder, and smack you on your butt. Like, go put on some muscle, right? That's
Don't
how
hurt me.
strong my. That's how
Lord have
strong my
mercy.
husband is.
I know,
You
I
see,
know, I know. I couldn't
Paul,
resist. I couldn't resist.
it's my fan club. I mean, I mean, I can't help you there.
Oh man, I
But
love it. Well, listen, as we're
You
hitting
know,
the ceiling here, what else do we have to add here? What do you want to say?
you know what's the other piece that I wanted to share is that when the average person comes to us, we have the transformation piece. But what we're also seeing is, say someone goes to the doctor and the doctor says, man, your blood pressure is through the roof. And if you don't get this done on your own, I'm going to have to put you on medication.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so it will motivate someone to call someone like us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing is even within the first 2 months, right? We're seeing blood pressure being regulated. We're seeing diabetes getting under control, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing thyroid levels leveling out. Okay. So this whole idea of, working out and the nutrition, it has so many implications. It's not just the appearance, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of underlying diseases that are affecting folks, right? That are not getting addressed, right? And then I would be remiss to say that, I'm even on a spiritual journey right now, Paul. And I remember as a child, there was a scripture in Psalms that said that God's intention is for man to live to 70, and if they're strong, live to 80. It's in Psalms 90 verses 10, right? And as a kid, I've always held on to that promise that when I meet someone, oh, we're all gonna live to 70, and if you're strong, 80, right? But in recent years, including my mother, I am seeing that the scriptures are not being fulfilled because my mom died at 48, and I'm seeing a lot of folks dying in their 40s, some even in their 30s.
Yeah.
And it's a turmoil inside of me that is like, come on, like, why? And as I go through my spiritual journey, I came across a scripture that says that anyone that defiles your body will be destroyed. Meaning that if you don't take care of your body, you're going to be destroyed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm learning that, you know, God has a will for us to live 70 or 80, but he also gave us humans a will as well. And living to 70 or 80 is based on a condition that you take care of your body. If you don't, and you defile it by eating these high sugar foods, high fat foods, and just no care and prudence about what you eat and how you take care of your body, that you will die if you
You're
don't.
done. Yeah.
There, there,
Yeah.
there, there are consequences.
Yeah.
So, that is what drives me to work tirelessly for our clients day in and day out,
Yeah.
to have God's will in heaven happen for us here on earth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a noble cause. Noble cause for sure. Well, I want to tell everybody listening that wherever you're watching this, because we simulcast it everywhere, the contact information for Chris and Karene will be around this video. Get connected with them. The content that they're putting out, you put out, is awesome. You're constantly guiding, teaching, helping people. There's so much to take in there, nutrition and fitness and all of that. It's fantastic. And you have a complimentary session you'll do with anybody to learn about them. So this has been awesome. It's been, we could go on forever. So thank you both for being here.
Yes, and I
Thank you,
would
Paul.
also leave one other tidbit for your viewers, that we do have an Amazon store, that even if you don't work with us, just having access to the supplements and the products that we use, even if that's the only thing you get out of this, take advantage of that. There are really good tools that you can use at any stage of your fitness journey.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put that link around here too, because we were talking about the protein powder up there, the whey powder. So great. Thank you. I know we'll be talking again soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Yep.